and ain't no wannabes here. With some not so nice advice for your writing career. To be clear, no punches will be pulled, but the punch may be spiked. How they like before they get on the mic. To my left, we got the mighty Mer Lafferty. And if I piss her off, believe me, she'll come after me. And her co-host, Matt Evan Wallace, on the right. Yes, she may be half as hype as she can take him in a fight. So settle in, folks, buckle in and boot up. Time to meddle in a way to make you writer shut up. It's hard work, but the perk is that it's fun and exciting. Facebook will still be there when you're done writing. Ditch Diggers! Ditch Diggers!
Coming to you live from the Morgan Freeman sandwich cart right outside of the unemployment line, it is the Ditch Diggers with Mer Lafferty and Matt Wallace. Good morning, Matt.
Morning, Mer. That was good. She improv that. I didn't know what she was going to say for where we were coming from live. And then she was like, I got it. I got
After
the line.
4.5 minutes of arguing. I know that because I was recording the whole thing.
Well, that'll be good. That's good extra content for our Patreon backers.
I really don't think it is.
It is. That's what they want, Mer. They want to get inside our creative process as
Lord.
podcasting professionals.
Yeah, there's a lot of, that's not a real thing. And then Nikki in the background suggesting things and Matt yelling, do your job, I'll do mine. It's great.
No, that's good stuff. That's what people want. That's why reality television is so popular.
Yeah.
It's superficial human drama.
Yeah, and if I could, I'll get a $100 bonus if I show up to the podcast completely blitzed when it's not a podcast where we're planning on getting completely blitzed, or...
Is that a thing?
I don't know. I hear that producers get bonuses if they can force extreme behavior.
I'm sure that's true. Nikki had an assistant who was on a reality show one time. They bribed him to do all kinds of stuff.
They bribed the contestant?
Yeah.
Like what?
Like they'd throw them, like if they didn't want to do something, they'd like throw them huge parties at fancy hotels for all their friends. To like get them to do it.
Oh.
It's like tell that chick you love her. And it's like I don't want to do that because I don't, and that would be mean. They're like, well, we'll throw you a huge party at a fancy hotel for all your friends.
Okay.
He didn't do that, by the way.
Well, yeah, that's.
But like sincerely,
now that's actually interesting conflict I would like to see.
Yeah, it is interesting. Are you saying our conflict is interesting? Is that what you're implying?
Yes.
I reject that. I think
actually,
that we really...
I'm saying that the conflict of let's have you say you love somebody when you don't is superficial and nasty, but let me bribe you to do something you don't want to do, and then you fight back. That's interesting conflict.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think it is interesting conflict. I just think our conflict is also... I'm just really offended on behalf of our conflict now. I feel like you're belittling it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We've got interesting things happening here. We've got interesting human dynamics going on this show. How dare you?
That's true, we do. But one thing I want to talk about is we have good news and bad news for the listeners. There really isn't any bad news. It's just change is coming. Because of Matt's new schedule and my inability to schedule myself very well, we've decided to, in order to stay on the weekly show goal, we're going to be doing 2 full Ditch Diggers episodes a month, and then on the off weeks, we'll be doing much shorter episodes. So we'll be doing a full hour, maybe with an interview, maybe with just us just talking, and then we'll do a 20-minute one topic focused thing. What are we calling it, Matt?
We're calling it the 20-minute ditch.
Right.
A ditch dug for you in 20 minutes.
Right.
But about a freelance writing business topic. So, and I think it's an exciting format change. I'm actually pretty excited about it. I think we can do a lot of things with it.
Yes.
And I think the shorter episodes, maybe they'll help us attract a whole new demographic of people with really short attention spans.
Right.
And you gotta get that demo to be popular in today's world, Mar. That's who you need.
That's true. But how do we really think people with really short attention spans are going to be successful in long-term writing projects?
I mean, are you going to sit there and honestly tell me you haven't met a plethora of individuals in this industry and in this business whose attention spans were microscopic.
Yeah, that's actually talking about myself, so never mind.
So we all have a touch of that, you know.
Yeah.
I'm good at short, sustained bursts of focus. You know, like I'll put several of those together in a day, and that's how I get shit done. And then the rest of the time is like me reorganizing my action figures.
Have you put us on Twitter that we're doing the thing with the stuff?
No, I haven't, but I think we have some back questions.
Yeah, probably.
So we don't get good business. We started recording earlier in the morning, and we don't get as good a question traffic from Twitter early in the morning, I found. And it's demotivating me from soliciting questions. Because it hurts my ego when I ask and no one asks questions.
Yeah, yeah.
See how brutally honest we are? And you say we don't have interesting conflicts on the show. I'm here bearing my pathos to the world, and you're like, that's not as interesting as a reality television show.
You win. I got nothing.
That's right. You got nothing.
Yeah.
But that's what we're doing. So two regular, the Ditch Diggers that you know and love type episodes a month, and then 2 20-minute ditches a month.
Right.
I think that's pretty exciting. And do we have more news on top of that, don't we, that we want to announce? Or are we not announcing that yet?
What are we announcing?
The Patreon related stuff and the features that we are no longer. And I guess we can set this out if we didn't want to talk about that.
Oh God, my notes about that are downstairs. What do you remember about it?
We are going to make the transcribing a stretch goal on Patreon.
Oh, that, yes. Unfortunately, doing more episodes is great, but it drives the transcription fees up a lot. So if you enjoyed having the transcriptions sent to you, and you want to support our Patreon, we can bring it back. But for now, we're going to hold off just because we can't sustain it. Really wanted to, but it's just getting up there.
We really want to, but to be perfectly honest, and I want to be honest about this, and I think it's important people know, because I think there are people who honestly just don't understand the importance of things like this when we talk about them. They really don't. It's like we started doing more episodes, and we started having them professionally transcribed to make the show more accessible and more inclusive. And like we were telling people, we really need our Patreon to scale to sustain these things. Mm-hmm. And we try to reiterate that with people. And we try to make it clear, like even $1 helps. And I honestly think there are people out there who maybe would give if they understood the importance of this thing, but it just doesn't penetrate. So this is the consequence of our Patreon not scaling, is we cannot afford to do the transcription services to make the show more inclusive and accessible. So this really does have consequence. It's not just like an extra thing that's like gravy on top of, just doing the show. That's how I think a lot of people perceive the Patreon thing, where I'm being totally serious right now. Mm-hmm. I think they think it's like, we're going to do the show, and then whatever we get from Patreon, it's just kind of, well, cool, whatever we can do there. And to some extent, that's true. Like, we are going to do the show no matter what. But, like, that Patreon is our main source of income for the show, and that not scaling has real consequences, and that's one of them. So I really wanted to make that clear to people. Like, these things actually have consequence. So if you were thinking, it's not important if I support the show monetarily, they'll do whatever they want to do regardless. It's like, no, man, it really does matter. The Patreon really does have real impact on what we do on the show and how we're able to do it. So if that shit is important to you, and if that was your mindset before, I just wanted to let people know, maybe you kick in $1 to the Patreon, because that again really does make a difference. If we had our whole listenership, everyone kicked in $1 to the Patreon, we'd be skyrocketing, man. We'd be styling. We'd be rolling around in Escalades. It'd be awesome. So it makes a difference, and it matters. Just wanted to make that clear to everybody, if they didn't really grasp how the inner workings of this, function. Yeah. That's all. I just feel like I wanted to clarify that, because I really feel like, again, not everybody understands the importance of it. So yeah, that's what we're doing. transcriptions will become a stretch goal, and if we reach that stretch goal, we will be happy to start doing them again. But for now, it's just not it's not financially feasible. So get on that, people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to update the Patreon page to show what our new goal is to bring it back.
Right.
So,
I feel like we need more pictures of me on the Patreon page, too.
Send me pictures.
Maybe like a calendar. You could do like a Ditch Diggers calendar.
Sure.
It's like me leaning over a saddle, looking coy.
Mm-hmm.
For March. March is a coy month.
March is a coy month, but March has already passed. Are you talking about next March?
Well, yeah, there'll be another one. There always is.
All right. That'll work. We'll do a calendar, sure. Let's make that another goal.
Let's make that a stretch goal. The Ditch Diggers calendar. I'll dress like a fireman for you. I'll do it. I'm cool.
So will I.
We'll both dress like firemen.
Yeah.
I like it. I like where this is going. So yeah, I think those are all the announcements about the state of the show.
Yeah. So what are you working on? What can you talk about? How are things going?
Things are very, very busy. Professionally, I'm doing very well, better than I've done in a long time. So I really can't complain. But things are going busy. By day, I market ICO campaigns for high-level technology companies.
Very busy and important.
By night, I write my little stories. They're not little. That belittles them. They're not little. They're big stories. Yeah, we're finalizing the contracts with Saga Press right now for my new deal with them for Savage Legion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still trying to finish the middle grade novel that I've been working on, and I have an opportunity going to do a television pilot that might lead to something cool. So I'm also been working on that. I've been in the living room with my index cards, blocking out a new script.
That's exciting.
So those are the main things that I'm working on right now, and I need to get better about like admin stuff, like my website. I got a great website and a great webmaster, and I haven't done anything with my website in a while because I'm just too much going on and trying to maintain my vlog and the YouTube channel that I'm doing and everything. So I've been doing better with that, though. I've been doing better with the vlog. I've been taking the camera out on weekends and getting out of my writer's room and shooting things, live as they happen.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of just talking about things that happen, I'm trying to shoot them. Because, I was doing the daily vlog, and that was too much. So I'm doing weekly now. So I feel like I got to give people more bang for their buck.
So the outside equals bang?
Yeah, more production value, more characters.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I took the camera to the book signing this weekend, which I hadn't done before, and all the signings I've done, and shot a bunch of stuff, and shot little not interviews, but just little mini conversations with the authors who showed up, like Paul Kruger and Margaret Dunlap was there, and it was
Margaret,
a lot of
yay!
Margaret. We love Margaret, but yeah, so Margaret came out because she lives 5 minutes from where I was signing, and yeah, so it was cool. So I'm enjoying that. I'm trying to figure out. I'm still figuring out the video content thing, but it's an important platform. I'm building it slowly, and I believe in it. So, Angry Writer on YouTube, if you haven't checked that out, by the way. So yeah, those are all the things and of course I've got millions of ideas and millions of, not millions literally, but lots of what ifs or could be's or possible things.
Mm-hmm.
But those are the concrete things that I'm working on right now, and it's all going very well, and I have no complaints. It's a lot to balance. The balancing is still the hardest thing I'm doing right now. Balancing the freelance with the full-time job. Go read Cameron Hurley's feed if you want to know about how hard that is. I just basically everything Cameron said is my response to people who ask, "How is it with the full-time job and the freelance writing?"
Yeah.
What about you, Mur? Aside from just being nominated for every award under God's green sky. Green sky? I don't know what I'm saying.
I'm like, where am I? This is neat. I'm still working on my secret project that I can't talk about. Still can't talk about it. It's stressful. And I guess I can't talk about why, but it's I'm trying to figure out what I can say.
I mean, you brought this up.
You asked.
Well, you brought up the "what are you working on" thing.
Oh, well, we usually do that. Anyway,
well, then you should have been even more prepared.
It's a lot of work, and it's stressful, but it's, the best kind of stress in the world because it's an awesome project. I just, working towards the deadline, which I guess is what we're going to be talking about a little bit today.
It does. Good segue.
Thank you. I also turned in the hopefully final proposal for my new novel. And hopefully my agent's going to love it and not ask for any more edits. And hopefully she's going to go out with that. So really crossing my fingers on that.
Sweet. I was going to ask, was that just to appease her, or is that actually going out to two people?
It hasn't gone out to people yet. She's kicked back some.
It's going to go out to people when it's ready. The proposal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, she's just trying to help me make it better, and she is, because what I have now is a lot better than what I had in the beginning. So, this is why agents are good, people. It really is. It comes back, and I get the first flare of, "Nuh-uh, it's awesome. You shut up." And then I think about it for a little while, and I'm thinking, yeah, she got a point. So there's the whole levels of grief dealing with an edit letter. The first level is nuh-uh. And
it's like the 5 stages of death, but it's with proposal writing grief.
No, I guess the first stage is I don't want to open this email because it's not going to be good. Then the second stage is nuh-uh.
And then the third stage is what? Begrudging consideration?
Yeah, I guess so. Fourth stage is I suck and I should just quit. She's lying. She's just trying to let me down easy. This is not salvageable. It's absolute shit. And then 5 is, okay, I'll make the edits and get it back to you.
Right, there you go. I like that. We should write that up. That should be an official Ditch Diggers technology.
Yeah. And the thing is, what makes you a pro is being able to go through those emotions very quickly. Because I don't think they ever go away. At least they haven't for me. But as long as I can streamline those emotions and go from, oh crap, I don't want to open this, to here are your edits in a couple of days, I'm good.
Your ability to cycle through them, yes, is definitely, that's well said, Mark. That's a good one. That is
Stage 5 takes a little bit of work. That's the actual work. Everything else is emotional, not compressing. What's the word I'm looking for?
Emotional
digesting. Processing, sure, processing. Most of it's emotional processing, but then the final one is the actual work.
Right.
So, but that's me, just doing proposal writing and secret project writing. Things are going well.
That's just where it's at,
Oh, and last week I had the best problem I've ever had, which is I had the added stress of making 3 packets for the Hugo packet.
Right, because you have been nominated 3 times.
Yeah.
At this year's Hugos, so
and I'm sitting here going, man, this is a lot of fucking extra work. This is the best problem I've ever had.
You should explain what a Hugo packet is to the uninitiated, because that's what we do here, Mer. We explain things to the uninitiated.
A long time ago, there was a. You would get you would hear about the Hugo nominations, and you would hear that, say currently it's April, and you hear that a story from a magazine you don't subscribe to, published last January, so we're talking 16 months ago, got nominated for a Hugo. How could you have found out about that? You didn't read it. You don't have that magazine. How do you vote? How do you make an informed decision? So people started to say, let's just gather all of the nominated stuff together that publishers will let us and authors will let us, and we'll put it all out in one big hunk. And then people who buy a ticket to Worldcon get a link to download all this content. And it's pretty much caught on. Some book publishers, like Orbit, don't like giving away whole books, so they'll give a couple of chapters or a couple 100 pages or 100 pages or something. But you'll still get a sense of what each novel is like. So you'll get you'll get samples of the magazine. You'll get samples of you'll get all the short stories. Usually you get all the novellas and novelettes. Sometimes, now that there's a new series, Hugo, you'll get all the books in the series, and I wonder why people think we have that kind of time. But and then you'll get samples of all the artists involved. Usually won't get TV shows. They're larger, much bigger copyright issues there. Or rather, people clamping down on copyright issues. But
well, I would argue it's much easier to find the TV shows at this point in history.
That is a very good point.
There's some obscure short SFF story that came out a year ago.
Yeah.
Do the Nebulas do packets too now, by the way?
No, don't think so. But there was a recommended reading list on the Nebula forums, and that was curated by SIFWA members. So you could put your own recommendation on there, and then other people could vote it, whether it was up or down or whatever.
Right.
And a lot of people would link, for the shorter works, they would link to the original version of the story, and some people would just link to a doc file. So there wasn't an official Nebula packet, but if you go to the SIFWA forums, people want their stuff considered, so there's a lot more available links there. But
just wondering, because I know that for a long time, that availability was like a huge area of contention for people about all these awards. I remember one of my favorite stories was Lisa Tuttle, like turned down her Nebula nomination in protest of story availability, and I think that was a Nebula. So I wondered if the Nebulas were finally doing that.
I had not heard that. Wow.
And she won too. That's why I like that story. She won. She wrote a letter turning down the nomination. They wrote her back, and they were like, "Well, you won the award." And so she stuck by her. She didn't suddenly change her mind. She was like, "Oh, well, then that's a different story." She refused the award because she objected to the fact that either all the stories should be available or none of them should be. Mm-hmm. I always respected that. I had mad respect for that. I was like, "You go, Lisa Tuttle." The Bone Flute was a story she won for. I remember that.
Okay.
So anyway, I was curious if years later Lisa Tuttle's protest had paid off. So they're doing better with the Nebulas, not as good as the Hugos are doing, where they do an official packet.
Right. So, but you are responsible for getting your own Hugo packet stuff together. So,
that's fair. I mean,
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I'll swing with that. If they're willing to distribute it and they're willing to organize it, I think that's totally fair.
So for Escape Pod, that was the biggest problem because we are an audio magazine. We don't put out PDFs or Mobies or anything. So we had to decide which stories we were going to say best featured what Escape Pod is about. And then we had to put them together into an attractive ebook format. And that took a lot of people working a lot last week. It was that was the most work. For Ditch Diggers, it was just me and Matt having a quick phone conversation about which ones were our favorites, and I zipped them up together and I put them on Dropbox and sent the Hugo people the link, and then chased my publisher down to make sure that they had sent something for the book.
It's good. I'm glad you're on top of that. No, well, Escape Pod's nomination is kind of historic, so that's a big deal. I get that.
It is.
We get nominated all the time, so whatever.
I like you. You're funny.
I know, right? So that is what a packet is, and that's you. Since you were nominated 3 times at the Hugos this year, you had to make sure the 3 packets were submitted.
Yeah. It's
a lot of response. As Cheech Marin once said, responsibility is a heavy responsibility.
Yeah. He said that about me, actually.
He did. Most of his famous quotes were about you.
Yeah.
Which is strange because, you weren't born when he said a lot of them. And you're a white girl from North Carolina. But whatever.
Yeah. That's
the power of Cheech Marin's comedy.
We were pen pals.
It's both prophetic and multicultural. Cheech Marin listens to the podcast all the time, so he's going to hear it.
I wrote him. And told
You
him
did,
to,
you
because
wrote
we're
him as
pen pals. I
pal.
just told you that.
Yeah, your correspondence. You let him know.
Mm-hmm.
Matt's going to talk about you on the podcast this week. Listen, Mer, we didn't congregate here in the wee hours of the morning on Skype to talk about Cheech Marin as brilliant as he is.
And yet, it still happened.
And yet it still happened. No,
All right.
So I'm segueing, if you
Go
can't
for
tell.
it. Segue. Ride that segue.
We congregated here. We congregate here. I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying that phrase. Because it reminds me of the movie Young Guns, which was one of my favorite.
No.
What?
Stay on target.
Oh, yeah, tangent. Yes. Stay on target. No, we wanted to talk today. The reason a half hour later that we came to you from the sandwich cart outside of Morgan Freeman's unemployment office or whatever the hell it was, I don't remember anymore, because it wasn't my idea, it was Mer's idea, is we wanted to talk about finding work. That's what we wanted to talk about here today. Because that is, I would say, that's definitely, if not the top question we get asked, it's definitely in the top 3 questions we get asked.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Like, how do I find paying work as a writer? This is a valid question. It's the most important, probably the most important question if you want to do this for a living and make money. And it's a very hard question to answer. So I wanted to devote some time to it and look at several arenas that can provide answers to this question, and also several different kinds of work you can pursue as a freelance writer, whatever your main focus is. And that in and of itself, I feel, is an important lesson, and one that we try to teach here is, if you are going to do this for a living, with very few exceptions, you need to plan to diversify your revenue streams. You need to be prepared to do several projects or several different kinds of work simultaneously, and have several different revenue streams coming in. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to make your nut. And especially in America these days, our nut is ever expanding. We have elephantitis of the nut, Mer.
I'm uncomfortable with this metaphor.
I understand. I'm uncomfortable with how expensive the cost of living in this country is, and that's what I'm talking about. If your mind is in the gutter, I feel that you're the one who's placed it there, and that's on you.
You just said elephantitis.
I said elephantitis. That's a medical condition.
Of the nut.
Of the nut. In America, we have elephantitis of the nut.
So how do we get jobs, Matt?
I love how you moved me off that as quickly as possible. You were like, this far, no further. You became Patrick Stewart in Star Trek First Contact. How do we get jobs, Mer? There are several, and I think the most important thing is you got to start for the people who don't have any contacts, because so much of this business is networking, and like one of the easiest answers is get to know people who can help you out. But that's very hard to do. Not everybody has access to industry folk. Not everybody is comfortable making new acquaintances or with the social aspects of networking. For a lot of people, it's very hard to develop that kind of like Rolodex, even though I would argue that's probably one of, if not the best ways to get the kind of jobs that you want to get, or get to the kind of places you want to get to as a writer. Would you agree with that, Mer?
I would agree with you, but I'm going to be the bad cop here and say that, yeah, it's hard, but so is writing. It's part of the job. It's just that I know a lot of people struggle with that, and I do too. It's so hard to go up and talk to people. I find it so much easier to stand in front of a group of people, which apparently some people fear worse than death, and talk to a crowd than to walk up and introduce myself and start a conversation. I'm so bad at it, but it is so necessary in this field. So many things in my life. I mean, I struggled to find something that did not happen as a direct result of some sort of networking. I mean, there are just so many good things that have happened. A lot of it started with me sitting alone in my room podcasting, but I had to contact people and interview them on the podcast, which was networking. And it's so hard to view. There are people different than me. I just did a rant on this on my other show, just how Actually, no, I ranted on it about both shows. Sorry. About,
It was a multi-rant.
It was a multi-rant. I was very angry. The fact that these self-help books just say, basically, do everything I do and you'll succeed. And if you have problems I don't have, then don't have those problems. And I'm trying to be very aware of that and know that either because of physical or mental or whatever complications, you may find it very difficult to do it. But that doesn't mean it's basically right under the ability to write well, the necessity to do this. And so it's like people say, what do I do? I'm really, really introverted. I'm going to my first con. I'm like, okay, have one goal. Have one goal to go up and talk to one author or one editor. Even if it's just, hello, I enjoy your work. Just one goal. Just manage that. If it's like step one, make it a baby step, but make it a step. Don't just not take it.
Right.
I'm done.
No, I wanted you to keep rolling on that. I thought that was really good stuff.
Well,
so
it's just hard. I don't want to. I don't want to put down anybody with any sort of disability or any ability or I know it's difficult with like locations or income, or I know it's all a challenge, but it's all part of the job. It's just like writing's a challenge, so it's part of the challenge of the job. And if you have problems with it, then you need to work out solutions that work for you.
No, I completely agree. I agree with everything you're saying. I don't even think it's a bad cop thing. I was trying to come at it because the thing is, that's what you find is, how do we get work? And you tell people we got a network, and they're like, okay, well, that just doesn't help me, So I was trying to go around. I was trying to start kind of from the back end, but I agree that is an intensely valued and valuable part of how you get working. You do need to learn to do it. You were doing good on that. I wanted you to keep going. Like, okay, so let's go from your bad cop perspective. What if you can't make it to the cons? Like, what if you can't afford to go to the cons? What if it's implausible for you to get there, to set that goal, to tell that editor, I enjoy your work? Then what do you do, man?
Well, now it's easier than ever because of social media.
Right.
It's you talk to people that you admire. And you know that sometimes people you admire are going to have thousands and thousands and thousands of followers, and they may not respond to you, but they probably see you. And you talk about things that you find interesting, and you talk about things that you know they find interesting. And perhaps it's about their work, and perhaps it's not. Perhaps remember, go back and listen to the Mickey Kendall interview. She got in with Gail Simone because she brought her gluten-free cupcakes at a con because she knew that Gail Simone liked gluten-free cupcakes. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's networking right there. And
with cupcakes.
Yeah. So it's like, and you can be incredibly shy like Natalie Metzger and still get a job illustrating John Scalzi's book because she contacted John online and she would do fun pictures for him. And
whenever he had a contest or a challenge, she would participate in it.
Yeah.
And got his attention with her art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I just wanted to point out
yes, you can be not traveling, you can be incredibly shy, but you can still do it. You're just gonna have to find your path, and that's the real challenge. You can find something that works for you. I have faith. You're just gonna have to figure out what that is. And I'm happy to, through these podcasts to throw out lots and lots of ideas, but ultimately, you're going to have to find what works for you.
No, I think that was all. I really think you hit upon just some great stuff just there. It was like with Natalie, she took opportunities when they presented themselves, even if they seemed like small opportunities at the time, and she also did it consistently,
Yeah.
Like, he would put out this stuff on a blog, like, I draw this or whatever, and over time, because she kept taking those opportunities, he noticed that her artwork was awesome and asked her to illustrate his miniatures collection. So she sees the opportunities that presented themselves like that way. Mickey listened, and responded, in a healthy, positive way, and I think listening is another thing you can do.
Yeah.
And finding out about the people that you're interested in working with, And I also think when you start off, I can't overestimate the value of like not having an agenda when you start off with this stuff. I think that's very important too.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to get to know somebody, especially like on social media or online or whatever, just like get to know them to get to know them. Just follow them to follow them. Listen to them just to listen to them, you know. And if you have an opportunity to interact, like if they put something out where they're open to discussion about something, participate in the discussion just to participate in the discussion. Like don't have any ulterior motive, and let things build from there. I think that's a really important note too, because I feel like where a lot of people screw up is viewing everything as an opportunity to pitch or to make themselves stand out or to try to ingratiate themselves. And it's not about that. It's really just at the beginning about participating and developing relationships on their own and finding out about people, you know, and the more genuine a place it comes from, I think the better relationships develop from it. And then the better networking develop from it too. And the better professional relationships develop from it too, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Learning how to understanding boundaries is an important thing to bring in here, because especially with how we become more social online and people see more of our personalities, people may think that because I talk to Matt in a certain way and he talks back to me in a certain way, that is the kind of back and forth I have with just anybody.
Right.
And they don't understand that I've known Matt for over a decade. We're very close. I know his intentions when he says something that sounds outrageously rude to me. And not that you ever do, dear, but
I was going to say.
But that's a reflection of our relationship and not of how I react when any dude said something incredibly rude to me. So you need to think, hey, that's, you know, I look at how they banter. Maybe I could get in with a banter like that. Well, maybe not, because you're looking at the person and not the relationship. And I know this is starting to get, like, detailed, but sometimes you may want to be super clever.
Good.
And, John Scalzi has one of my favorite quotes, which is, the failure mode of clever is asshole. So if you think you're being clever and you fail, you're just going to look like a dick. So,
and I think that's one of the most common pitfalls we see online, like, is someone trying to jump into a conversation between two authors or two professionals who know each other and like you said, are bantering with each other, like jumping into that conversation and trying to join in on that, you know, when neither of these people know who you are. And that, I think, leads to disastrous results 99.9% of the time. Because you're assuming a level of familiarity, like you said, that you don't have with these people. Yeah. And you need to recognize that. Yeah. Which is why and that's really what, and I'm really glad you brought up this point, because it's a really good point. But that's really what I was trying to get at earlier with if and when people, like on social media, create a discussion or actually solicit something where they want to hear from people. I think it's important to find those opportunities. You know, you can't just jump in on a discussion that's being had between familiars or between peers. And that's definitely a good boundary issue. So I agree with everything you just said, Mern. I think that's a really important point to make, and a really good tip.
But also, I mean, if you want to get in on a conversation like that, you can always ask a question.
Yeah, there you go.
It's instead of jump in and try to mimic their back and forth, and you actually have something to add to the thing, ask a question. But we're getting too focused on networking here. Is there anything else we should say about networking? I know it's important, like I just said. I can't think of anything in my career that was not a direct result of networking. Even the stuff my agent gets me now, I harken back to networking with her at a con, because that's how I met her.
No, absolutely. No, I wanted to get to. I was going to start with the non-networking stuff and then back into this.
Oh, sorry.
And we just started with it. No, that's fine. I'm saying, but I wanted to get to all this. This is all important stuff, so we absolutely should be talking about it. If on the subject of it, I would another important thing that I would offer to people is don't be dismissive of people who you feel like aren't worth the time it takes to know them. Like, you just assuming that, like, oh, well, they're not anybody, they're not going to be anybody. I feel like it's a bad thing to be dismissive of people. And you get, you know, because you can get, and it doesn't make you a terrible person. Like, these are bad habits you start to develop. But like when you start out, you want to meet the people that you think can help you in the long run, or whose work you already admire, people you see as peers or professionals that you want to be. And you can get so obsessed with wanting to meet these people and get in with them that you tend to dismiss the other people like you who were trying to make the same headway and trying to develop the same relationships and trying to get to know the same people. You can almost see them as competition sometimes, which is another really unhealthy habit to form.
Yeah.
That idea of competition there is no competition. It's not a thing that exists. It's totally manufactured. Because for one, that's just a dick thing to do. Like, I would start with that. It's just a dick way to be. And I was dismissive of people for a long time. I will fully cop to that. That was something I knew years ago that I could be a very dismissive person, and I regret that. I really do, because it was a dick way to be. But from a purely professional side of it, you never know who is going to turn out to be, quote unquote, somebody in this thing. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
And just thinking about all the people that we started out with. Back when we were doing podcast fiction or whatever, and none of us were anybody and hadn't done anything yet, and just thinking about where we all are today and the heights some of us have reached, and just, grateful that I didn't dismiss certain people I did, because I enjoy knowing them now. I'm glad I didn't dismiss you, Mer. You're one of my best friends.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I'm saying. Don't become so obsessed with the chase of networking that you dismiss people who can't immediately help you, or you don't think are gonna be a valuable professional contact. Be open to everybody in the space.
Yeah, networking with your peers is one of the best things you can do, because you're probably going to be rising around the same time, and exactly. So they may not be able to help you now, but down the line, you don't know what's going to happen. So that's one thing I really got out of Viable Paradise, which is, we were told, watch, these are your peers. A lot of you are going to, your careers are going to go off at the same time. And, I'm very proud to say John Chu was in my class, and he won the Hugo for short story a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So he's pretty amazing.
Don't dismiss John Chu, people.
No,
that's what we're saying here.
No. But, just pay attention to your peers.
Yeah, and even if it's not, and the thing is, even if it's not, getting you a job down the line, it's really valuable to have people who share your experiences and share your journey when in this business. And, it's when I was going through the whole thing with this book deal recently, the couple of weeks where we were negotiating everything and things were blowing up, and Mur was one of the people I looped in on what was going on, because Mur and I have gone down the road together, man. We've shared each other's successes and defeats, and we've been there as we have both progressed, and it just helps to have people who get it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very hard to find people, even if you have people who are very supportive of you. My wife is extremely supportive of what I'm doing. And, she's, I'm not saying we've been together a while. She's watched me go through stuff too. But people who aren't in this business, who haven't been through the things you've been through, it's very hard for them to fully appreciate and understand what you're going through or empathize with it. And it's very valuable to have people who can empathize with you and that you can empathize with over this stuff. So that's another thing that comes from those early, don't be dismissive, be open to people starting out at the same time as you thing, is you all develop over time, and you have an understanding and empathy of each other. And even if it's not hooking you up with a gig, just having that around you is valuable and helpful in so many ways, I think. So that's another benefit that comes from that kind of networking.
Yes. Yep, I agree.
So that's networking. That's not the full comprehensive guide, but I feel like we did some good stuff there. I feel like we covered some really good ground.
Yes.
So what do you do minus other people? What do you do if cold calling is the thing that you're going from? Just having to reach out to people and try to get work cold, without a recommendation, or without nepotism, or without a friend, or without a mentor or a rabbi or whatever. That's the other side of going out trying to get work. And that's the side that I think a lot of people, again, Murrow is absolutely right. You can't dismiss the networking. You got to figure out how to do it. But a lot of people want to know, absent me knowing somebody, how do I get a job?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's the whole I just feel like this should be a clip show because we've talked to a lot of people about a lot of
Yeah.
these things, like Cassandra
Yeah.
Caw.
Yeah.
Cassandra couch surfed and went cold calling in San Francisco until she got a job writing. Was she writing game reviews or games at that point? I forgot.
She's writing game reviews. She wanted to write games. She started out writing about games.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a lesson in of itself.
But it didn't start immediately. She had to cold call. And you the thing we wish were true was that to be a writer all you had to do is write. But especially if you're doing any sort of nonfiction, you have to read a lot. And if you want to report for IO9 or Dog Fancy or Time, you need to read the magazine you're pitching for to understand what they usually run.
No, I mean, and that's true. If you want to be a screenwriter, you got to watch shows and you got to develop a spec based on one of those shows as a sample. That's the standard industry practice. So that mentality, that extends to all industries in a way. I feel like that's something you have to do.
So to get a job writing as a screenwriter, you have to write fanfic?
Yeah, you absolutely do.
You'll
write your own episode of an existing show and you'll shop that around. Because then it gives something people to compare it to. Because, you're not going to make your own show right out of the gate. You're not going to create your own show from scratch. You're going to staff on a TV show that someone else created. So they want to see your ability to adapt to someone else's material. That's why they have you do that. So they can compare it to the existing show and go, okay, this writer is able to pick up the voices of the characters. They understand the tone of the show. They understand what everyone else has created and has done, and they can adapt themselves to that. And that's so. Yeah, you write fanfic to try to get a job writing for major television shows, and to do that, you need to do your research. Just like if you want to write nonfic, you need to read, and if you write fiction, if you want to write, you need to read. Just flat out. I think that's just a universal rule I'll throw out there. Yeah. But yeah, Cassandra is great. Is a great example, and she I forget what the stats were with her, but didn't she did so many pitches a day or whatever for such and such a length of time? Yeah,
I think so.
She had something like that. Yeah, but she literally, so she crossed several oceans to go to where she felt, the stuff was being made, and then she started cold calling around and submitting until somebody let her write for them, and not everybody has that level of commitment because Cass is a singular individual in many ways. Yeah. I love her, man. She's weird in the best possible way. But but that is an ultimate ditch digger move. That's, and I did that to an extent. Myself and Edward Earl Newton, who I came out to Hollywood with in 2010. We just decided we didn't have any contacts. I knew two people in LA and neither of them were in the industry at the time. But we both decided we want to break into filmmaking, want to break into television and or movies. We just need to go to where they are, and we need to try to get our foot in the door. So we did the same thing, and there's no interview process for writing for television or movies. There wasn't there wasn't a listing in the paper, and then you go to an interview. That shit doesn't happen. So we knew we were going to have to start out doing ancillary stuff. So we both started with Craigslist. Literally, that's where we both started getting jobs in LA. And that's how we both started making inroads in the industry and just, surviving. So we didn't starve to death. And that Craigslist, I think, is the ultimate form of cold calling. Because you're three steps removed at that point. You're just reading these cold ads on this anonymous, mostly anonymous website. But there is, you have to do a lot of sifting and you have to do a lot of quality control. And you have to, read between a lot of lines. But if you're willing to do that, you can find good leads on sites like that. And it can lead to paying work. And that paying work can lead to a good portfolio. And that portfolio can lead to the career that you want to have. But that's the ultimate step one kind of thing,
So I've never used Craigslist. Have you ever? What results have you gotten from it?
I mean, very many and varied, Mer. My first, I'm sure I've said this before, but I'll say it again. Like for the first paying job I got when I came to LA, and it was a Craigslist poll, was doctoring the thesis screenplay for a Korean film student.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that was my first gig and my first paying gig in LA, and I found that on Craigslist. It's this film student from Korea who was going to UCLA. They were willing to pay someone to help them with the English in their thesis screenplay and to help them with the dialogue. You know, make sure it said what they wanted to say and they were hitting the cultural references they wanted to reference.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my first job in LA, was editing this thesis script for this film student, and that was just a Craigslist poll, and that was one of maybe 25 emails I sent that day. You know, for all kinds of stuff. From they were like writing vitamin ads, writing billboard copy, writing label copy, editing porn scripts. I think was one of them. Just all of this, anything that had anything to do with the industry or the field that I wanted to be in. Like that was really my only prerequisite. Can I classify this as a writing job? That's where I started from. You know, because again, I had nothing and I had no contacts. And, we did the networking thing. We came out, so started doing that too. But like day one, you need to eat. So you got to start with, we got to get a job. Mm-hmm. And I was determined to be a successful freelancer out here. So that's where I started from. What got me going on this though for the show today was actually something that author Alex Axe retweeted, which was a Craigslist posting for a romance fiction ghostwriter. And they were willing to pay $2 per 100 pages of romance fiction written.
Oh.
Yeah, no, it's terrible. Yeah, this is a terrible thing. But that is the kind of shit that you will have to wade through if you go the Craigslist kind of route. And you need to, from day one, even though you need to eat, you need a job, it's also important that you set professional standards for yourself in terms of how you're going to be treated and how you're going to be paid. And that was the other thing I wanted to talk about when it relates to this issue. Because I absolutely advocate using these kinds of services to get your foot in the door and to start getting work and to start building a portfolio and start building a resume and start building a reputation and all that stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. But you also can't let yourself fall into the trap of taking shit jobs just to get work. And you have to define what a shit job is. And $2 for 100 pages of romance fiction is a shit job. Mm-hmm. that you absolutely should not take. So do we want to get into money, or do we want to get into dollars and cents and like rates?
I don't know. I mean, you've done a lot more specific freelance stuff than I have, but I want to talk a little bit about dealing with professionals, and we always say you should be professionals, but one thing I hate is when you find people who are looking for writers and they're paying shit or they're not paying, or they're paying part of whatever money comes in after publication. And when you bring up, hey, this isn't cool, they're just like, they start whining that this stuff is expensive and they don't have the money to do this. And here's the thing, the old cliche about it, you got to spend money to make money. That's absolutely true. Either it's true in the author sense, where you're spending your time, which you could be conceivably doing something else that makes money more effectively, or it's on the business side where you have to pay authors and editors and illustrators and printing costs and all of that before the first dollar comes in. And so if you're working with somebody who is not prepared to do the business side of things, then walk away. Because
Absolutely.
There's somebody I will never work with again because he told me that he was holding back my freelance writing payment until the book made money. And I'm like, no, I am one of your costs. I'm not an ancillary. I was furious. And it's just people get this, like, you can even hear it when you're reading online, this whiny tone of, well, I can't afford to pay all of this, but I want to make this thing. That is not somebody you should be involved with. People need to acknowledge your worth and be willing to pay for it. Granted, I'm also a publisher. I'm an editor for a magazine, and I know what our budget is, and I wish we could pay people more. And if people choose not to submit to us because we can only pay pro rates, which is 6 cents a word for a short story, I fully understand. But but I understand. I'm not whining. I'm not saying, well, I don't have enough money to pay authors what they're worth. Send me a story anyway. It can't. No. It's you gotta they gotta understand not only they need to spend money, and if they can't get what the level of stuff that they want because they're not willing to spend the money, they need to deal with it.
No, absolutely. And I would say, for more on that, I would refer people to the Freelancers Rebuttal Guide episode that we did that covered all of the bullshit that people will sling at you, that those people will sling at you to try to get you to work for free.
I told you, it's a clip show.
It is. It should have been a clip show, but we can't really.
Yeah, it's too much work.
It's too much damn work.
Yeah.
No, but I completely agree, and that's really the crux of it is, don't be so desperate. You can't be so desperate that you're willing to just take anything, you know? And again, that's not even anything. That's nothing. That's somebody offering you nothing. You're getting no value for that whatsoever. You have to if you want to be a professional, you have to set professional standards for yourself, and that means you get paid when you work, period. How much you get paid is negotiable, and a lot of that is individualistic too, man. It depends on circumstance and what you need. Like the basic metric I would just tell people is take into account the time and energy you expended or will expend to do the thing, and ask yourself, how much was that worth to me? Mm-hmm. And then that's what you should be getting from people at a bare minimum, you know? But yeah, at the end of the day, because we got to wrap this up because we're coming up on an hour here. At the end of the day, what I would say in terms of getting work is you really only need 3 things. You need persistence. You need the ability to ask and to be told no. That's like the big one. And you need really strong writing samples. If you have those 3 things, eventually you will find paying work with somebody. You absolutely will. And I say that with total confidence. If you are willing to just go out there and ask and be told no, because you're going to be told no a lot, and that's hard for people. That's like probably the hardest one.
Yeah.
And if you have the persistence to keep doing that consistently, and you have strong writing samples to show people, eventually you will get paying work in whatever writing-based industry you're trying to get work in. I adamantly believe that. Because that's just what it takes. It is based on both the strength of your work and the strength of your personality. And you just need the strength of personality to be willing to call strangers and go, I do this. I would like to work for you. I'd like to be given a shot. Here are my best writing samples. What can we do? You know, that's all you need. And if you can do that, you'll find work. So that's, I don't know, Murr, if you want to add to that list or subtract from it or whatever, but that's what I think it takes at a base level.
I think that's it. I think this sounds trite, but it's one of those mindsets that I've actually found really works for me, which is seek the word no. It's like we try to avoid it so much, but if you change your mindset, and I'm not saying throw a bunch of shit out there and say, woohoo, I failed, but I mean, still do your best, but start collecting your no's, because if you shoot for a whole bunch of no's, you'll get to yes faster. And it's, I know an old sales trick was to get, 100 rejections before lunch or something, because that shows you're really working hard and you'd be more likely to get sales. And, one thing I say in my other show, which is someone who's getting rejected is a working writer. And if you're getting rejected, you are more of a working writer than somebody who is not submitting and not getting rejected.
Absolutely.
So don't be afraid of the no. Seek it. Run after it.
Seek the no's, people.
Yeah.
And use the goddamn Twitters.
Mm-hmm.
These are all T-shirts that will be available in the Ditch Diggers gift shop on your way out.
Morgan Freeman hasn't built that yet. Maybe next time.
No, yeah, that's under the Ditch Diggers gift shop is under construction.
Yeah.
I don't know why he's building us a gift shop on a property he's constantly trying to keep us off of, but you can't understand the facets of Morgan. You just can't. He does things in his own time, on his own time, for his own reasons. Mur, I think it's time to go home. I really do. We've talked a lot about many things.
Yes, we have.
I think we should close things out.
The show notes and links to the episodes that we mentioned will be at murverse.com, and you can get my Hugo and Nebula and other award-nominated novel, 6 Wakes, available in ebook, audiobook, and paperback. Only ebook and audiobook for the U.S. We should probably do an episode on foreign rights at some point, just to explain.
We covered it a little bit when we had our agents on, but yeah,
that's true. That's true.
Certainly.
But just people usually go to the author and ask, "Why can't I get your book?" And I'm just like, "It's not in my control, man. I'm sorry."
Right.
Anyway, I should be writing the book about the writer's workshop in a paperback book. Only it's a little bit more clever.
The book you can write in.
Yes, is also available, and I believe that's available in print and ebook worldwide, English-speaking areas. So that's what I have. That's what I'm shilling. That's my podcast. That's my stuff. I'm running out of words, man, and we still got one more of these to do. Go.
I know, it's crazy. I'm really glad that you didn't see fit to mention your Hugo nominated novel 6 Wakes just then. Makes a lot of sense.
I did mention it.
Did you?
Yeah.
I totally glossed that. Then you went into the thing about foreign rights, right?
Yeah.
That overtook it. That overtook my consciousness. So that was what I focused on.
Yeah, sorry, I probably should have said. Reminder: I am talking about my Hugo and Nebula nominated novel 6 Wakes.
And
Clone murder mystery, space, blood.
Not to be confused with a deli in space. It is not about a deli in space.
Right.
That comes later.
Maybe.
Yeah, what have I got? So Taste of Wrath, the final book of my Syndicate series, is out right now.
Woohoo!
If you have not yet gotten into the series, now's the time to binge read it. And all of you who told me you were going to, it's time to put up a shut up. I'll just throw that out there right now.
That's right. The ones who are waiting for book 7 to come out before they buy it all.
Exactly.
Yep.
And I heard that from a lot of people. So I expect to see just the biggest spike in all of my sales numbers coming up based on all the people who are like, no, I'm just waiting to binge read it, dog. They call me dog. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you haven't yet gotten into the series, you can go back and binge read the whole thing, starting with book 1, Envy of Angels. But yeah, Taste of Wrath, the 7th and final Syndicate book, is out now. Available from fine digital retailers everywhere. My other novella, Rencor, Life in Grid City, also available from Parts Unknown Publishing. You can get that on Amazon in paperback and ebook form. And please do check out my weekly vlog. It's on my YouTube channel, Angry Writer. It's just a little thing I do. We have a lot of fun. I give away books and swag every month. Occasionally my wife does videos where she puts makeup on me. We just have a good time, so come check it out.
You know what? Me and Matt are going to be at Worldcon in a couple of months, and we'll be at the Hugo ceremonies, and Matt's wife is going to put makeup on both of us.
She is. She's going to do that, but it'll look better on her than it will on me.
I don't know. She's got good skills. We should make that a Patreon level. You will wear hot makeup, hot David Bowie makeup to the Hugos.
Yeah, that'll be the thing that skyrockets our Patreon. Not the weekly content we do trying to educate and advocate for freelance writers all over the fucking world. It'll be putting makeup on my face so people can laugh at me.
That's patreon.com/MightyMur, by the way.
I don't have a problem. I look fantastic. I have really good cheekbones for a bigger guy. I'll wear it all day. I have no problem. I love Bowie. Bowie's in space. Anyway, so yeah, but we will be at Worldcon, and if you want to see us, you want to see me in fabulous makeup, kick some money to the Patreon. Where's the Patreon, Mur? Finish with a shill for the Patreon.
Patreon.com/MightyMur. It's my name, but that's because I set it up way before Matt and I started this thing. So Matt gets a cut if you throw a couple of bucks that way.
And even $1 a month makes a big difference.
It does. It really, really does.
Really does. Cannot emphasize that enough. So yeah, use the goddamn Patreon.
Yeah. You can support us at patreon.com/mightymur.
Ditch Diggers!
Theme song by Devo Spice, devospice.com.